Hey y'all, welcome back to Phased Out. I'm Justin.
And I'm Jacob. And today we're back for another episode of Show Me Your Deck.
I'd love to.
Cool. Well, I'm hoping you will. Me and everybody. Today, Justin, first time on the show. I appreciate you joining me.
Of course.
We're going to chat about Trostani.
Trostani Selesnya's voice?
Rumor has it this is the first commander deck you built.
Yes, Trostani Selesnya's voice was my first commander deck. I believe I built this deck. We're filming this in 2025. I believe I built this deck in 2018.
Wow.
Originally. So the reason I chose Trostani is because when I first got into Magic was Khans of Tarkir block, Khans of Tarkir set. And the first Planeswalker I ever pulled from a pack was Ajani, Mentor of Heroes. It's a green-white Planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally love Lifegain in Magic. So I had a Selesnya Planeswalker I wanted to put in my first ever commander deck. Trostani was, I thought, a really cool Lifegain commander. So I built Trostani originally as a cat tribal deck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very bad. And then I reworked it into another version of cat tribal, which was a little better. And then I just ditched the cat tribal and a Johnny Mentor of Heroes and made it full on Lifegain. And that's where we're at now. I would say this is one of my best decks.
Okay, well, tell me what Trostani does.
Trostani,
For all the people that don't know,
yes,
are looking into maybe building a Trostani deck. What does Trostani do?
Yes, Trostani Selesnya's voice is 2 green, 2 white, 2/5 creature. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under my control, I gain life equal to that creature's toughness.
Sorry, I'm laughing. I've played this deck many times. I've played against this deck many times, and I've just seen that just bring in so much life gain. It's outrageous.
Oh yeah, we've really refined this over time. It has a secondary ability to populate. I do not have a lot of tokens in this deck, so I very rarely use that.
Mm-hmm. When you talked about kind of what inspired this, when you sit down at a table, what do the other players need to be playing in order for you to bring this out? What level do they need to play for you to say, oh, I can play my Trostani deck?
Gotcha.
Casual, competitive, CEDH, what is this?
Yeah, it's definitely not CEDH. I personally don't like to match up decks. Like if somebody's playing a deck, I don't think it's that fun if I'm like, oh, you're playing like
Lifegain, I'm gonna play Drain.
Yeah, I don't think that's super fun. So I just ask my friends to pick at random from like my pick a number and then I play that deck. That being said, this deck is too good for like an out of the box precon. That the game just won't be close. And it's not good enough for your high tier level 4s or CEDH. But anywhere in the
maybe like a high 3,
anywhere in the upgraded bracket 3 range to some versions of 4 decks it can compete against, but that's the sweet spot for this deck.
So talking about some of the construction of this deck and the strategy. Let's talk about game plan, win cons. What's your overall play here? I know Tristani gains a lot of life, so I gotta imagine that's part of it.
Well, yeah, life gain in it of itself is not a win con. You can't win the game by having the most life. I think that's a trap a lot of life game players fall into is, oh, I'm going to put all these pieces in to gain me life, but you have to have a way to
kill people,
convert that into something. Yeah. So I have Aetherflux Reservoir, which is a classic win con across spell slinger or life gain strategies. It's a 4-mana artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast, and you can, this is the big part, pay 50 life, and it deals 50 damage to target creature or player. I think the second to last time we played
I'd like to know
against this deck, I
painful.
had just refined it to its most recent iteration, and I think it was like turn 6 or 7, and I Aetherflux Reservoired all 3 of you.
If I'm not mistaken, Trostani didn't get on the board until turn 5 either.
Yeah, it's possible Trostani wasn't on the
actually
on
don't
the
know
board
if she
in
made it on
that
the board.
game.
It was crazy. Like I said, I played against this deck a lot. It's hurt me a lot. I've thought about it late into the evenings a lot.
Yes,
and that was one of the worst ones.
Yes, so that's the that's probably one of the primary win cons. Another one, I have some tutors in here. I have Tooth and Nail in here. That will often get me some combination of these 3 cards. Blossoming Bog Beast, which is 5 mana, 3/3 creature. Whenever it attacks, I gain 2 life. This is the important part. Then creatures I control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life I gain this turn. So if that's on the battlefield, I'll get like Serra Avatar and Soul of Eternity, which with Trostani gave me a pretty obscene amount of life. And then all my creatures get buffed with Bog Beast if it's attacking. So that's one of them. Another one would be those same 2 cards, Serra Avatar, Soul of Eternity, along with Nykthos Paragon, which says whenever I gain life, I may put that many +1/+1 counters on each creature I control. That once each turn. This deck, I try to gain life in bulk. It's not too much, just 1 life at a time. So there are moments where I can put like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 counters on each creature I control. And some of them have various evasions, which makes it awesome. So
well,
I would
just
say
that Sarah's Avatar, I mean, that comes in. That could be a 65/65, gaining you 65.
Exactly. Those,
and now all of a sudden it's a 130.
Yes, those 2 cards are very important to the win cons because they do stuff like that. And then I have Defense of the Heart as well, another tutor to bring in 2 creatures to get that super bulk life gain.
Mm-hmm. What about win cons that maybe aren't so obvious, right? Like Sarah's Avatar, you're playing in a pod, somebody sees you cast that, that's it. It's a pretty quick drop down a counter spell. That's a pretty obvious card. Anything that's in there that maybe Aetherflux Reservoir, like that sometimes can just hang out on the battlefield. If it's not countered, it's just, I just have a useless artifact over here for now, and then next thing you know, there's 3 players and you have 101 life.
Yep.
Who knows? Like maybe something like that. Do you have any little sneaky things like that you've had the opportunity to play?
There are cards in here that are more techy that aren't necessarily win cons, but if left unchecked will result in me winning the game. One of them is Crested Sunmare. It's a 5 mana creature, 3/2 white. Other horses I control have indestructible, and at the beginning of each end step, if I gain life, I create a 5/5 white horsey.
Each end step is big there.
Yes. So left unchecked, if I have like any of the Soul Sister, Soul's Attendant, Sarah's or Essence Warden, Soul's Attendant, Soul Warden, I'm getting a horsey every single turn.
Mm-hmm.
2 turns of that, I have obviously 40 damage unblocked. I have Heliod Suncrown in here. I personally don't love playing infinites, so I do not have like the Walking Ballista infinite combo, but as we all know, Heliod can do some really broken stuff. And then I've just built the deck to be really resilient, which I would consider in it of itself a win con. If games go into mid range with my Lifegain deck, I'm probably gonna be able to generate more value than the other decks.
This is a deck that I would say you let this get to turn 7, 8, 9. I'm looking at a fat
positioning. Dub. Yeah. One more card to mention, Springheart Nantuko. It's a bestow creature. If it's bestowed and it has landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield, I may pay 1 if Springheart Nantuko is attached to a creature I control. If I do, I create a token that's a copy of it. So if I can get Springheart Nantuko onto one of those big baddies with Tristani out, I can be gaining like 50s to hundreds of life.
Yeah, very fast. Yeah. When you were building this, it was your first deck. I know you mentioned you went down the Tribal Cat route.
Mm-hmm.
What was the hardest part about building this deck to where you're almost at an optimized position?
The hardest part when I first started just making commander decks in general was winning the game. Because in Commander, we have access to almost all the cards in Magic, right? It's very fun. With that, there's a temptation to just put a bunch of value pieces in there, but you have to win the game at some point. Like I said, I can't just have 500 life and win. That's not how it works. So that was pretty hard, especially the Cat Tribal route. And then as I've refined it to this, I personally play Commander to play like big splashy spells.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. Hence, like the gain 100 life
Yep.
stuff. I think that's super fun. There was a point where I had like 34 or 5 mana spells in this deck. So I was just never double spelling. I was only casting one thing a turn.
Low magic.
Yeah, it was just too slow. So,
and as I said in the last episode, and I'll say whenever someone asks me an important part about Magic, the more spells you cast, the more cards you draw, the more likely you are to win.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's talk a little bit about lands. I know you personally. I know you're a 37, 38 land guy.
Never 38.
I know you're a 37 land guy. What is up with the 35 in this land? Is that a mistake? What's going on there?
No, it's not a mistake, and I need to get another land in here. It is currently, in my opinion, like close to perfection for what I want it to be. And I just can't bring myself.
Without adding hundreds of dollars to it.
Not even, honestly. Like, if I look at my considering list, like there are cheap cards, expensive cards. It's just like, I just love where it's at. So it's so hard for me to figure out what to cut to get 36, but I do think it should have 36 plus an MDFC. I can't bring myself to cut it.
Do you have an MDFC in here now, or is it 35 strict lands?
It's 35 strict. And then I have a Soul Ring Arcane Signet. I do have Great Henge in here, which is great. Ramp.
Henge.
Yes. And Wind Crystal, which is like pseudo mana rock, kind of reduces my white spells. But I do need to figure out how to put a land in here, because one weakness I do have with this deck, despite running quite a few ramp spells as well, is missing land drops, which is pretty devastating.
Yep. It will slow you down. That will lose you games. Missing land drops. Land is the hardest and most important part about it. A little combo I was just looking through here that I think would be fun is that horses card, the each instep you get a 5/5 horse.
Yep.
That mixed with the enchantment. Enchantments, as we know, are insanely powerful. They're when I first started playing Magic, and I think you've said this before, I didn't realize how powerful enchantments are.
Yeah, I love enchantments.
I was looking at big creatures. I was looking at instant spells. Enchantments are very powerful. So when you have that horse card, I can't remember what it's called, but you get a horse on the instep.
Are you a horse guy?
Big horse guy. When you get a horse at each instep, and then you have something like Aura Shards on the battlefield, where whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you destroy target artifact or enchantment. Not only are you removing their powerful enchantments, but also their mana rocks, their soul rings, all these things. That's such a sweet combo.
Aura Shards is an awesome card. My enchantment list in this deck is, I think, perfection. We've got Authority of the Consuls, gains me life, slows down my opponents. Aura Shards, which is just a control beast, especially in a deck where I do make some tokens, not a lot, but some tokens. And I do run 32 creatures. So if I have Aura Shards out, I'm likely triggering it on each of my turns at least. Fun story about Aura Shards. One of the biggest Magic content channels out there is the Command Zone. And one of the founders of the channel, Josh Lee Kwai, tells a story about Aura Shards. He was like somewhere in his career playing Magic, really wanted the card, but it was nowhere near where he lived. So he had to like call around the area. The store he ended up going to get Aura Shards, my hometown store.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Wow. Anyways, Aura Shards, very good card. Love it. Grasp of Fate is in there. It's a 3-for-1 removal enchantment. So good, especially when dealing with commanders or problematic artifacts or enchantments. I have a friend who has this like weird tombstone card in like a zombie deck. It's ridiculous, but Grasp of Fate helps deal with that. I love doing that. Trudge Garden, underrated piece in this deck. It's very important in Commander to have mana sinks, I've learned. So Trudge Garden says whenever I gain life, pay 2. If you do, create a 4/4 green fungus beast with trample. Goes very well with Trostani because I gain life off that coming in. And then obviously Defense of the Heart. So my enchantments, I think, are great.
Enchantments are just so powerful. They just really are. When you are looking through here, You've kind of perfected it. Is there any card that stands out? This is something I feel like you would do, knowing you personally. Is there any cards you've just kept in here because they're fun? Maybe they could deserve a cut, but you just have them in here. You just don't have the heart to cut them. For example, your Johnny Strength of the Pride. I know this isn't the same Johnny that you pulled.
That card's so good in this deck.
It is so good, but I would venture to say that Planeswalkers and Commander 95% of the time are just not that great.
That's fair. Yep.
Is that one of those kind of things that you just keep in there? Maybe could deserve a cut, but it's just in there? Or do you have any cards like that?
I would not say a Johnny is one of those. The reason being a Johnny's 0 ability. It's effectively a 4-mana, one-sided board wipe that can win me the game kind of out of nowhere if my life total is above 55. So I do hear what you're saying, but a Johnny definitely serves more of a purpose. Looking at this list, everything in here really does have a purpose. I mean, Esper Sentinel doesn't have to be in here, but green-white just doesn't have that much card draw. So it's kind of pigeonholed in there. Otherwise, the only other thing that I would say is close is probably Traverse the Outlands, which is a fun combo with the Serra Avatar Soul of Eternity. It's a 5-mana ramp spell where I search for X basic lands where X is the greatest power among creatures I control. So ideally, when I play Traverse the Outlands, I'm just finding all the basics in my deck. I run 18.
Which 18 is not hard to get up to in this deck.
No, but pretty much everything else here is there for a purpose.
Yeah, that's good. What kind of decks when you're playing at a pod, if someone sits down across from you or next to you at a pod, you look at that and go, that's going to be a problem for me. What hurts this deck?
Right. Commander damage is obviously very good against Lifegain because it doesn't matter how big my cushion is. My number is 21. Yep. Otherwise, I would say decks that are hyper aggressive and fast that are also targeting me. So like red decks, think Ishin, O'Hare, Torbrand, or just token decks generally that are targeting me where I can't get above my starting life total. It's just really hard for me to overcome.
Have you made any changes recently to this deck? Like anything that maybe you haven't had a chance to play yet or anything like that?
Yes. One recommendation I would have is I struggled for a long time thinking about life gain like doublers or amplifying effects, like gain this much life +1 or something. Ultimately, I have found that the doubling your gain life is so powerful in this deck. That's what happened that game we referenced earlier. So we have
you gain 20, but then it turns to 40.
Yes, like I had, I think, 2 Soul Sisters plus a Rock's Faith Mender, which doubles life, plus the Wind Crystal, which doubles life, plus a Panharmonicon, which doubles the triggers on that. So each creature I was gaining 16 life twice. And that's just so hard to beat. So I really dove into that. And then I have found that white has some pretty decent recursion. A new card from Final Fantasy, Aerith, Last Ancient, lets you return cards if you gain life. Celestine from the Warhammer Universes Beyond lets you return stuff, gain life. And then just backup effects for Trostani. So I have like Elish Norn, Mommy of Machines, great card.
Mother of Machines.
I guess it's Mommy to me.
That's just what it says, but.
And then I personally run a few board wipes. I think Farewell is critical in any white deck. You just have to have a reset button, Tragic Arrogance, Fumigate, some good stuff. And I put in more protection and bounce stuff because usually with this deck, I build the board and then I just need to get to my next turn to win. So I have like Ephemerates, Teferi's Protection, Heroic Intervention, stuff.
Yeah. Totally. You mentioned a couple UB sets there. We recently just had everything announced for next year. Is there anything that you've seen, any sets you're excited for that you think might have some cards that you maybe want to pull from for this deck?
Right. For this deck next year, I don't think so. Maybe Star Trek. Maybe we'll see. I envision white being pretty strong for Star Trek. space themed. White was a decent color for Edge of Eternities, also space themed.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to have too much for this. What else do we have? Star Trek, TMNT. Oh, Marvel Superheroes.
Maybe.
Marvel Superheroes might. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then there's one more that I'm not remembering. I'm not a UB hater by any means, but I'm not the.
Yeah. Imagine money's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I know this isn't a budget deck. It's about roughly $700, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
But
is it actually? Oh
it's
my
about
gosh.
$650 right now at current market price.
It's like way more than I thought.
If you were to add something to this deck, assuming
Yikes.
money's not an issue,
Uh-huh.
what would you add? What's something that you would take out of your considering section?
I think I would throw in a Chroma's Will in here.
Fun. A
Chroma's Will as a win con, because I have those. I typically will have giant creatures. Yeah. This giving protection from other creatures should be a one-shot kill. It's a $10 card right now for base non-foil. I don't know what else I would add. I've like toyed with other things before. That's a lot of money. Maybe a land tax. Like I said, I don't know what to add in. I don't know what to take out for lands, but I have to get my lands. So I'd also consider a land tax. But those are the two. Last March of the Ents has always been like, should I not? But I just don't think it's worth it in this deck to throw that in.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a Smothering Tithe in here?
I used to.
Took it out?
I don't anymore, yeah. I just want to be doing different things on turn 4. I'm big into that in Commander. Like, my Commander is 4 mana. So if I'm going to be playing something on turn 4 that's not my Commander, it needs to be really good. So, like, in this deck...
Interesting. That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah, at 4 mana, I have Bright Glass Gear Hulk, which gets me the Soul Sisters or like Shadow Spear. I have Ranger of Eos, which gets me the Soul Sisters. Exemplar of Light, which is great for card draw and becomes a giant creature. The Faith Mender, which does doubles life. Shalai, which gives all my stuff X-proof. All that's, and like the Johnny. So all that stuff serves like a really intentional function. That's, yeah.
Just so I was really thinking of a way of you could get some extra.
Right.
Extra mana. Okay, so I know there's some Lifegain mechanics that will say if you have this 50 more than your starting life or something like that, you win the game. Do you have any of those in there?
No.
Or have you ever had a chance to win on just some hilarious way like that?
Right.
You will never get that again.
I do not play those cards. I don't love win the game cards. I think that's kind of against the spirit of the format a little bit. And yeah, I just don't like it. Pause, pivot. You asked me about like kind of fun cards earlier. Wall of Reverence, another 4 mana card I love. If you have a Lifegain deck, throw that in there. At the beginning of your end step, you may gain life equal to the power of target creature you control. It's a 1/6 flying wall defender. So fun. Anyways,
that was Serra Avatar. Has to be
yes.
That has to be fun.
I did once. I wonder if you remember this. I did once.
Why is it always me on the losing side of these games?
It's so fun.
I got to work on it.
I played I had Angelic Destiny in here, or not Angelic Destiny, Angel of Destiny in here, which is like if you attack and you have 55 or more life or 15 or more life than your starting life total, the person it attacked loses the game. So it wasn't like a win the game, but the person you attack loses the game. I remember,
which is totally okay.
We were playing a game at a friend's house, and I'm pretty sure I board wiped at like 1:30 a.m. Classic story, and the game went on for like 45 more minutes. You were playing your vampires deck, and we were at his house, and
I remember this.
Yeah, he was out of the game like 40 minutes prior to the board wipe.
No, I remember this. That was like within the first couple months of me playing Magic.
And then he just went to sleep, and we just finished the game at his house, but it took like an hour and a half to finish it.
Yeah.
We were both top decking, and I just eventually drew that Angel of Destiny and then just swung at you, and I had the life total to win.
I think that was only like the second game of the night too.
That was so funny.
Man, bless his soul.
But that's the only card I play like that. I don't love to play those win the game cards.
Okay, so talking, we're talking about kind of casual-ish Commander. being that's where the majority of players are. New players are in that space as well.
Yeah.
What would you kind of give to a new player who maybe doesn't have the $700 to spend on this deck to copy it and just go play it for themselves? How would you recommend they say, I want to build Lifegain, but what do I do?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I did not realize.
Because I know this took you approximately 8 years to perfect, it sounds like.
Yeah. I did not realize it was that much money. I'm sure part of it has to do with like the versions of cards, but easy cuts, like things that are just luxuries. You don't need a Teferi's Protection in here. You don't need a Great Henge. We just cut $100 right there.
Yep.
You don't need Alhamrit's Archive, even though it's a very good card in this deck.
You could replace those with some basic lands.
Right. Aetherflux Reservoir is $20. I see what you did there.
Get you back up to that 37.
Aetherflux Reservoir is $20, but I do think it's pretty necessary. Shadow Spear, another cut you could make. I have Archangel of Thune in here, which is a great card. So just those 5 cards I mentioned, that cuts like $200+ out of this deck. You could throw in some good stuff in there. Like I have a Kutzil in here, but you could put Lathiel in there, which is a fun card. Valkyrie Harbinger is one of those angels that makes more angels when you gain life. It's a $1.50 card. Great option. Honestly, I should probably put that in the deck.
No, it's okay.
Looking at this.
Put some lands in there.
I have Heroic Intervention. I think there are cheaper versions of it, but you don't necessarily need that card. Yeah, there are other things you could do. Soul's Majesty is a great card draw card you could put in instead of Great Henge. I love the card Alenda's Hierophant. It's popular in vampire decks.
I love that card. Gain
life, put a counter on it. When it dies, you create that many tokens with lifelink. Great card. So
I played that the other day. It was like a 10-10 or something. Somebody board wipes, but they board wiped with every creature gets -X/-X.
Yep.
And it was 10, or it was enough to get that down to 0 toughness.
Oh, and then you got 0.
And I got 0 tokens from it. And I started throwing tokens out, and he goes, "Hey man, that was 0 toughness. I didn't even think about it." And I got so sad. I was so excited to just win the game after that with all these tokens. But
yeah. That'll get you.
Yeah.
Another good one, a cheaper option is True Conviction. It's an enchantment. It is 6 mana, but it gives creatures you control double strike and lifelink.
Yeah.
So it's another good finish.
Yeah, lifelink, often a great combo piece in lifelink decks.
Yeah.
Okay. Crazy question for you here to kind of wrap us up. Okay. You're going to have to think about this one. Out of the influencer realm, all these big Magic player names that we know.
Like phased out?
Like phased out. If you had to pick, besides yourself, one creator to pilot this deck, who do you think would do the best job?
Well, we have a member of Phased Out pointing at themselves behind the camera, which is just probably one of my last.
I watched him play a deck a couple nights ago. The person you're talking about missed a lot of triggers.
Yes,
missed a lot of triggers.
Still won that game though. Speaks to their
which
speaks to their deck building ability. Let's see. One creator that I'd like to play my deck, I would choose Richard from MTG Goldfish.
Oh, fun.
Yes, I think he has a lot of interesting takes.
Super fun.
I feel like our channel, we have a few different people on our channel, kind of like MTG Goldfish does.
Yeah.
I find him to be entertaining. I think he would...
Kind of like we are.
I think we're particularly entertaining. But that's for you all to decide, not me. But let us know. I would love to see like how he likes to do kind of wacky plays, so I'd love to see how he like mixes and matches with this deck.
Status quo kind of thing.
There's quite a bit of interaction here, so I'd be curious to see what he does. Like I could imagine he swords to plowshares the Soul of Eternity to gain his own Soul of Eternity to gain like whatever. 90 life. Like,
maybe.
That'd be fun.
Maybe.
Good question.
Yeah. That's all I got for you, man. This deck is really awesome. I've seen it. There's not very many decks I can say that just are so powerful even without the commander on board, and this is one of them. It's done very just honestly disrespectful things to my board state in games, but I'm excited to hear what you guys think. If you have thought about building Lifegain or anything like that, we'd love to hear what commanders you're picking down in the comments.
We'll put this deck list in the description.
Yeah, feel free to check it out. If you have any suggestions, maybe how Justin could get those 2 extra lands in there, let us know.
Please.
But other than that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.